Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Dice Tower and the news. My name is Z Garcia.
And I'm Camilla.
I'm Joey Evans.
Yes, you are.
I debated. I'm like, do I do it?
I liked it. I liked it.
What did you debate?
I paused.
What was the debating?
I'm Joey Evans.
Oh, you were debating the last name?
Yeah.
Oh.
I was going to change
You're
it.
trying to decide. So you have
I'll change it
what one?
Do whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no one's here to watch us.
Nobody.
We're unsupervised.
Oh, we are all day. Today, tomorrow.
Z is the boss here.
Maybe the
Are you the
weekend.
boss?
Are you the boss
I'm
here?
not the boss. Calm
He's
down.
the boss.
I'm sick.
Calm down. Calm down. I said I'm the boss.
He's the best boss possible here.
This show
take
is
offense.
brought to you by All Play, by the way, as you already saw on the screen. And All Play just came out with their latest wave of games, including a couple of high-profile reprints, by the way. Reiner Knizia's Money, and they also reprinted from Gilhova Wordsy, a neat little word game.
Wordsy.
Wordsy,
It's a fun
plus
word.
a few other ones,
Z.
like the Transparency-Filled Ruins.
That one will be in the Hot Games room.
Filled with transparencies, Joey. I feel like I'm back in middle school. And it'll be on the Hot Games table at Dice Tower East.
Yes, that one and River Valley Glassworks will both be in the Hot Games room. And then All Play themselves will be there, having a couple demo tables and a lot of other demoing companies and exhibitors set up in the exhibit hall. Lots of good stuff at Dice Tower East. It's a week and a half away, though.
Yeah, what are you doing, guys? By the way, if you have not bought a ticket to Dice Tower East, it's closed, but you can get one there at the door. So you're fine. You can still come.
And you should.
Go to the website and you try to buy one. That doesn't work anymore. We needed to finalize some numbers, but you can show up and you can buy it at the door.
Yep.
Yeah,
we
can
have one.
still go play Ruins. You can still go play River Valley Glassworks. Yeah.
Yeah, so this year we'll have double the actual space and the gaming space. So because of that, we don't expect to limit tickets at the door. So just come. Come to Dice Tower East, play some games, check out All Play and all the other exhibitors have to offer. It's going to be a great time. And 4th of July in Orlando. Fireworks galore. Disney, Universal Studios. It's going to be a great time.
Fireworks game on 4th of July. There's a few.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Maybe I'll play Hanabi.
That's what I was thinking of.
Really?
That's
Yeah,
one.
I was
Hanabi.
going to go Skyrockets.
Okay, that works too.
Well.
All right, everybody, let's go ahead and take a look at some news here. We're going to kick it off with some Fantasy Flight Games news. They just announced a price increase of 15%, approximately 15%, on their living card game products and their board games, and this is going to be kicking into effect, I think, in July, if I'm not mistaken. So they basically quoted the increasing rising costs for manufacturing, the tariffs, all of that stuff, as a need for them to increase their MSRP across the board, basically. So about 15%. I guess if you want to get some of this stuff, pick it up now, or, you're going to have to pay a little bit more later on.
I was surprised by this news, not because of the increase, but because they announced it.
I know.
I was like, it was... Because I think we are seeing this and feeling it, and it's going to come or happen more and more. But to make an announcement, that was an interesting move, we'll say.
It does feel like trying to get you to buy it now. Like even now, reading this, I'm like, well, there are a couple Champions things I haven't grabbed yet.
Time to delve into
Ooh,
it.
prices are going up, everybody.
No, I'm not going to fall for
It's
it.
the weirdest way to put on a sale I've ever seen.
We're about to raise prices, and it's like, okay,
I guess that's what we did for Dice Tower East, though. So let's not.
good point.
It's
Prices
fine,
more at the door. Get them now.
Yeah, that's how isn't an ongoing
that's
thing.
true. It is a limited
Once
time.
per year. Anyway, so there you go, about 15%. Be on the lookout for that. Next up, we've got some news out of Panda Manufacturing. So they are a very, very large manufacturer, one of the giants over in China that produces the games that you enjoy. And they are going to expand production outside of China for the first time ever, and this is, again, partly driven by the tariffs. So they have expanded their production outside of China. They're going to be launching a joint venture in Brazil. They manufacture tons of games. It says here more than 70 million board games from China have come from them since they launched in 2007.
A lot.
And they've made games for all sorts of companies. Asthma, Stonemeyer, Leader Games, they've done Kickstarters.
They do
all that
our stuff for our
stuff,
campaigns.
that's right,
They do
that's
ours
right.
as well. So this might affect us directly.
Yeah,
interesting.
exactly. So, yeah, this is very interesting. Panda CEO Michael Lee was quoted saying that the tariffs, particularly when they spiked in April, had a substantial impact. They saw a noticeable slowdown in new orders and several projects that were temporarily paused. And they fortunately have a global customer base, while the U.S. represents about 58% of their business. That's interesting.
I
did not know that.
Yeah. That's quite a
Makes
bit.
sense.
I'm
It really
like,
is.
wow, that's a lot, more than half. But I'm also like, oh, that's great. Like almost half is not U.S. based. So
That's true.
yeah. So yeah, tons of luck and all the best to them as they expand outside of China and try out Brazilian manufacturing.
It's
That'd be
interesting
cool.
with Brazil because you hear a lot
Yeah.
going to like Vietnam, things like that. But Brazil, like,
They're
Well, I think
far,
it's-
that's for sure. They're nowhere near each other.
But I think
Right,
that's kind
yeah,
of the proximity
that's true.
for the shipping it was talking about
Good
as
point.
well, as it is closer to North America, which is 58% of their
Yeah.
clientele. It's a lot closer just proximity.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think Brazil makes a lot of sense as well. As they say, they have the infrastructure there. They're ready as well. So
Yeah, you put it on a ship
know.
and it will not take, the month and a half or whatever.
oh
it
my
Right.
takes.
goodness.
Yeah, especially-
shipping notification.
Sure.
It's like I want to know where the shipping from. Is it sending from North Carolina? All right, I'll get excited.
All right, yeah.
If it's on a boat, okay.
It's crazy you can track those boats too. That always blew my mind.
I know.
That you could log in and like put in the
What, you can actually do
Do
that?
you can
Yeah,
do that.
do you
Yeah,
do
can
that, though?
No, I've never done it.
No,
but,
me
You've
either.
done it for like
Yeah.
one or
but
two
you can
projects,
do
haven't
it
you?
technically. Like
yeah.
some companies would share, like Kickstarter
Right.
companies, they would share the ship
The
it was
actual
on,
ship,
and they'd be like, "Here, you can
Yeah.
log in, go look at where it is." That's wild to
Yeah,
me.
I
That's
did
so
it
wild.
once during like when things were for the COVID, when everything was like docked and couldn't get in, or when the Fort Lauderdale ports were down. And it was like
Oh,
you
see
could,
where it's going?
yeah, because I was like, oh, nope, it's still right outside. It's still 50 miles off the coast. You know, and
Yeah.
just like would check in every couple days till it was able to
There's a
dock.
point of
It's just
transparency that gets
wild.
creepy.
Yeah.
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 Right.
I have too much power. at
I
some point,
agree.
you know? I don't need to know where the ship is in the world.
Only time I watch those ships is when like hurricanes are there, and it's funny to see them go like this, then they're like, nope, and then they're gonna go. And they just go.
They're like the
around.
drunken
Yeah,
sailors.
gotta
They're
do
just like
Gotta do it. All right, next up, we've got some Asthma Day news. So Asthma Day is bringing in David Preddy, who is one of the head honchos over at CMON, was one of the head honchos over at CMON. And he was the sort of one of the architects of their Kickstarter push, their Kickstarter strategy. And they are bringing him in to head up their own crowdfunding and miniatures operations.
Wow.
This will be
Yeah.
change,
So
right?
David Preddy is the recently resigned COO of CMON. He headed up their own crowdfunding and their miniatures, and so he's doing this now for Asthma Day. He spent 8 years at CMON. He started back in 2016, and they grew quite a bit under his watchful eye there, and so recently left. There's been news about from CMON lately in the news about them selling off Zombicide and selling off a few other Eric
Onk
Lang
and the Eric
Lang
Lang
ones,
games,
yeah.
And so this is interesting. This is again sort of CMON adjacent news. This is not necessarily related to them, but David Preddy did work there for many, many years, and now he's being brought out to Asthma Day. So. And again, I wish him nothing but the best, and Asthma Day,
Asthma Day
trying
as well.
something new. Hopefully, it's something that is inspired by players.
Do you think they're going to go into crowdfunding?
It sounds like it. I
mean,
mean, that's
yeah.
the reason you would
it's
bring
why,
him
why
in.
you would, but then also people are like, oh, they'll never do it. I've heard that a lot. I'm like, they haven't yet.
I mean,
so
unless they brought him into a completely different role,
Right.
I mean, he is primed
just because
for
he's done that
this.
Yeah.
CMON doesn't
Right.
mean he's not good at other things. So
Right,
he could
exactly.
do good at managing whatever they want to do.
Right.
I would assume
But-
they brought him in
Possibly,
to do that job, miniatures and crowdfunding. Yeah.
And I think it'll be interesting to see if if Asthma Day does go that route, and do we start to see bigger miniature projects from them?
Yeah.
A lot of the
Including
Kickstarter
possibly
exclusives,
Zombicide, which they now own.
they just got.
I
Right?
That's
agree.
the thing.
Yeah.
That's what I'm guessing is the impetus behind this, at least somewhat, is they just acquired Zombicide. Why not bring in the guy or one of the guys
Right.
very much responsible for Zombicide being a massive hit?
Which makes sense because I have friends that love Zombicide, and their biggest fear is now it's no longer going to have way too much content, which they've enjoyed, you know?
Right.
You don't think it will?
I think
Why?
it will now.
Oh, okay.
I didn't think, I don't know, because the amount of
didn't-
content.
Yeah, I didn't see it going that route until we saw this move.
Right.
You know,
I was
and
unsure.
I think this kind of gives us a little bit more comfort zone, I think, in what way they're going to take the franchise.
Because I definitely expected when Asmodee buys Zombicide, I expect a $40 Zombicide edition
I
that
do
will
too.
show
Right.
up at Target, and
That's
that's
what
it.
I was afraid
like,
of.
You know what I mean? That's kind of do it sort of like what's the company that Simon used to does work with like Deceased and stuff, you know.
Spin Master.
Spin Master. Yeah, that's it. Like Spin Master does it, you know.
Did you expect that and a miniature version that's as big as it is now? Or no?
No, that's Simon's thing. I
that's what I thought.
expected Asmodee to do not that, but they bring in David Preddy. Maybe they are doing that.
That makes me a bit happier, you know, because
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. Now, Massive Darkness is still with Simon, right?
Yes, it
Yes.
is. Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yeah, Massive
All right.
Darkness, the Marvel, United,
Uniteds and all
that's
that
still
stuff.
a
Yeah.
Simon, right?
Technically, they still have some Zombicide. The themed ones, I'm sorry, the
Right.
licensed
The
ones.
licensed
Okay,
Those
yeah.
are still
Yeah.
theirs.
Wow.
All right, so there we go. Let's talk about some games, y'all. That's enough
All right.
industry insider stuff. Let's talk games. So we've got here. This is the American toy retailers from the trade body Astra. They have named Finspan, The Gang, and Trio as the winners, the board game winners of its latest Play Awards, which is an annual awards. They're created to highlight interesting new designs, which are, quote, thought-provoking and groundbreaking. So we've got The Gang, Finspan, and Trio, which is very interesting to me how two of these are very much based on other things. Finspan being based on Wingspan, and The Gang being based on poker.
Right.
I can see the gang in this because it does that twist. I can't see Finspan as being like, oh, this is totally brand new.
That was exactly my thoughts. I think, yeah, it feels comfortable, and that's why I like it so much, as it does
Right.
feel comfortable. I think there are comparable to other ones in mass market even. But I do think the Gang was a really great choice for this, and that's coming from me who doesn't care to play it at all. Like, I do not like this game. But I think it is a great one for this because it does take something comfortable, but it is kind of groundbreaking. Like, ooh, you like poker? You know poker? Hold on, you've never played this. You know,
Right.
and so it does feel very innovative.
This ain't your grandpappy's poker. What do you guys think about the games that got beat by these three? So here were the other nominees,
Okay.
or fellow finalists: Harmonies and Chronologic Paris 1920.
I've never played the second one.
I've not
So
either.
Chronologic is like a deduction game.
Okay.
I have not played it either. I hear it's a very well put together
Right.
game of again, like deduction from the guy who did all those deduction games that have been coming out lately. The computer programming one.
Yeah, he did
and-
the Turing Machine.
Turing
He also
Machine.
did
Oh,
Curious
wow.
Cargo.
Yeah, like all that stuff is from his brain, his beautiful mind. So I've heard nothing but good things. And then Harmonies
Harmonies, of course, should
has
have-
been kind of a showstopper.
Yeah, it really
yeah,
has.
so it's an interesting selection that to me doesn't necessarily, except for maybe Chronologic, doesn't necessarily shout these are, how do they put it, thought-provoking and groundbreaking.
Yeah.
But they are more like very popular games.
I agree.
Trio,
Right.
I don't know if I would call Trio thought-provoking and groundbreaking. It is incredibly approachable. I would recommend it to a whole lot of people, but
But is it those things in more of a take it out of the hobby game,
Yeah.
put it back into like kind of a mass
Yeah.
market? Is it groundbreaking for that? I could definitely see my non-hobby gaming friends who play a lot of games picking that up and be like, "Oh my gosh, it's like this!" But again, it's so different, it's so unique, like really grasping onto it.
And if that's the metric, then I can see why Finspan's there and not the other two.
I don't know though, because
But
again, I think Finspan. I mean, think of what you're going to see on the shelves at Barnes and Noble, or on the shelves at Target, on the shelves at not your local game store. Finspan is there
You think it's
right
too much? You think it's
beside
too
those.
heavy?
No, I think it's right there, right beside those. I don't think it's unique. I don't think it's innovative, anything like that.
there's fish in it.
So there are fish in it.
There you go.
And they do fly.
Just the one.
That one right there.
All right,
All
next
fish should
up.
fly.
In news that you thought you'd heard
Finally.
maybe 20 years ago, Cat Flux
Right.
is finally announced. How did we not have a Cat Flux yet? We
I
have
have
everything
no
else
idea.
Flux.
Wizard
Right.
of Oz Flux.
Yeah,
Everything.
that's a
It's
thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
everything.
there are a lot of Fluxes. We haven't done cats yet.
Yeah.
Also, bets over under here on dog Flux.
Scott.
Is
Oh,
it out
absolutely.
already?
Thought
A,
they
is
would.
it out
I-
already? B, within a year? C, more than a year?
I would say it's out until I saw this, and I'm like, no, because
Yeah.
they'll do cats before dogs.
Because cat people will come after them, and
Exactly,
dog people are laid
exactly.
back.
Yeah, they just sit on their couch and watch TV.
Yeah,
and-
pet a dog.
yeah. I was gonna say lick themselves, but that's better.
That's the
Yeah,
cat.
that's
No,
sort of-
that's the
oof,
cat
yeah.
people.
Oh, they all do it.
Anyway, so yes, cat lovers,
people.
you finally are going to have your own feline-centric Flux, so you can dig into the card game of ever-changing rules.
How are you on Flux, by the way? Somebody says, let's play this Flux.
It depends.
It is so hard to
Are
teach.
Is it cat Flux?
No, I was gonna say, are they
No, it's-
gamers? If it's a gamer, no. I know
yeah.
you know better. You know, like if they're not a gamer, I'm like, yeah, sure, but I'm much more flexible.
Have you
with-
tried to teach it to a non-gamer?
No,
How
I've
do you
only
win
ever been
this?
taught it.
You can't yet.
Yeah, I've only ever been taught it.
Really?
Because it's always by people who are non-gamers.
Yeah.
who are like, here, you want
is
to play
fine.
this? I'm like, sure.
Flux is fine.
But-
You give me one that has a neat enough theme, and I'll play it.
But I do think the cat is a perfect
Yeah?
fit for this because, well, one, it's approachable and everything, but also, I mean, just look at the cover there and how he's like batting cat. That's what cats are. They're extremely temperamental, and they do just flux in. From 1 minute to the next, you get a completely different personality from your cat, I feel like. I mean, it's just like, and I'm done with you, and it's like, oh, love me, I mean, they're all over the map. So I'm like, this is a perfect fit thematically. How did we not have this?
Sounds like Christmas stocking to me. All right, everybody, there you go. This is going to hit retail September 9th, 2025. Next up, we've got Women of Wrestling, the card game. It rumbles into retails soon. WoW card game. Have you heard of WoW before, Joey?
I have, unfortunately. Yes.
You have?
I
I've
have,
never
yes.
heard of this. Women of
Not
Wrestling.
the show. I knew. I know there's a show now about
This is
it,
a
apparently.
TV show, or is this actually like
It's
like the WWE? I don't know. What
they've
this is.
used that for a while. I know it's an actual TV show now. It's just crazy.
Okay. I mean, several of them do look like they're just in a TV show. They don't look necessarily like wrestlers, but I don't know what this is. Anyway, this is coming into retail October 31st. Isn't that Halloween?
It
is.
is.
Yeah. 2025. This is based on WoW Women of Wrestling show that airs on CBS and CBA affiliates. So in it is, which is created by the makers of All Time Wrestling. That's the one Tom likes, I think,
yeah.
right? Players will choose a wrestler and step into the squared circle.
What?
Well, I don't know what that is. That's weird copy there. They're going to play attack cards. They're going to create devastating combos. They're going to try to knock each other out. So this
very
one has a
nice.
little bit of a guess what your opponent's about to do, and then counteract that. It's interesting that it
okay.
is based, or I'm assuming somewhat based on ATW, the all-time wrestling game, because that one was using made-up wrestlers, was using sort of legacy wrestlers,
Right.
And
Which is the charm, I think.
the card play was, from what I understand, I played it, and it's been a while, I don't remember it well, but I thought it was like, kind of a neat back and forth.
It was funny.
This is
I enjoyed
interesting, that getting this intellectual property, then somehow, I wonder if the guy went and like pursued this and was like, this is my evolution. I'm going from all-time wrestling to WoW.
I don't see this as being a good step forward because the other one was just silly with the drawing animation
This might
and
be
all that.
silly too. It might
But
be.
then when
I'm
you have
assuming
that
it's very
pictures,
lighthearted.
I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, the game's for 2 to 4 players, ages 9 and up. It says it plays in 10 to 30 minutes, and it will retail for an MSRP of $24.99. That is very inexpensive.
Yeah.
All right, next up, we've got Yum Yum Trouble Gum. This is a game from Loosey Goosey, best known for that game filled with butts and the shark one.
It's the
I
best
was thinking
sentence
the-
I've ever
No, that
heard.
is the same game. The shark butt, and
The
then
shark butt,
and
it's
then the
the-
T-Rex surfing, Surfosaurus Max,
Max,
something
yeah.
like that.
You call it the shark butt game?
Yeah, it
It's
has
the
a
shark
shark
butt.
and there's a butt on the. I don't know. You know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about.
What's it called?
I,
Shark butt, brouhaha.
okay, I'll think of shark butt. Surfosaurus Rex or something?
Yeah, that's a different
That's
one.
a different one. No, he's
There's
talking about the
another
butt
one.
one.
It has a shark, a great white, and then another great white.
Mike,
Butt.
The butt.
or not Mike, I'm sorry. Pete Shirey, who's here in the comments. He's going to know, right? He knows all
Hey,
about that.
Pete.
Oh, man.
Yeah, Surfosaurus
What is the shark
Smash.
butt one?
Shark
Pete?
butt, brouhaha.
I've never
Anyway,
this is the same
this
company,
is
but different game. Yeah.
A new game from them. They have a couple of new games coming out of Spiel S in 2025, and they'll also be in retail fourth quarter of the year.
What is it? Sail or Die.
Okay.
Die. Yeah, that's it.
Oh, there you go. Mike Heller. Got it.
Shark Butt is a better name.
Yeah. Missed opportunity.
Did someone say shark butt? All right, so this is a 2 to 5 player card game from Axel Strubel. And the publisher describes it as a shedding card game. Collectively, the players are robbing banks.
I'm listening.
Yeah, but they are happy to turn on one another whenever that's necessary. You are
As
going
one
to
does.
start with 4 to 6 cards, and there are 2 banks in the center of the table. On your turn, you're either going to draw a card, you're going to play a card, or you do an action which combines both, draw and play.
I read that sentence 3 times before I understood
I have read this
disclosure.
previously,
Yeah.
so that's why I was prepared for that.
Got it. Okay, yeah.
Because yeah, it's
I was
very
like, what?
it's very weirdly written. I'm like, on your turn, you draw a card, or you play a card, or you draw and play a card. And I'm like,
But it didn't say that.
Wait,
It's like,
what?
or you draw a card, then play a card. I'm like, wait.
the pauses,
What?
like they, yeah,
So it
yeah.
could have said
Anyway,
Oh, okay.
um,
I don't think there's gonna be a lot of words in the game, so it'll be okay.
yeah, I think we're good. You can play one of 2 types of robbers next to a bank, as long as it doesn't have that type of robber there. You can play little fruit weapons or whatever.
As you should.
It's gonna be a silly card game in which you are trying to get rid of all your cards. Okay, silly theme, goofy cover. This is kind of what Loosey Goosey's gonna do.
I think the big takeaway from this, though, is it has a whoop whoop token, and I am absolutely here for it.
You
Any game with a
can
whoop
use it in
whoop.
any game you want to.
A
Really,
whoop whoop.
Oh, I'd use it in every
Like
game.
when the cops start coming, it's the whoop whoop.
whoop whoop. It's the sound of the police.
I'm like,
It's
in
really
the
not,
hood.
though.
All right, next up we got Troublebot, also from Loosey Goosey here. This is a reprint, actually, from a game called Dinky Dungeon, which came out from Jelly Jelly Games back in 2023.
Oh, it's a newer game.
And that
Okay.
itself was a new edition of another game called Dangerous Mining that came out in 2021. You got all 3 there. It's like a progression of artwork. Look at that. I
It
love
is,
that.
yeah. This new one I think is amazing, though. Do you guys like that cover?
That's like a
The
delicious
new cover I
and dungeon
do, yeah.
mushroom.
It's a what?
Delicious and dungeon mushroom.
It
Remember
is,
that?
yes.
They chase
Oh.
that thing and eat it.
But I love that he's kind of like cyber underneath his
Yeah, he's like a
mushroom
little
head there.
robot
But then,
shroom.
like, look how happy he is with the fire.
Yeah, he's very content
That's
to
how
burn
one
it.
should
There's a lot
look
to
when holding a
unpack there.
torch. Yes.
So this
Love
one
it.
is actually a very different game from Loosey Goosey because it's a mini game. It's an 18-card mini game. They haven't really done anything like this before. They do those, normal deck of cards sort of games. This one's going to be playable up to 4 people. Instead of mining or exploring a dungeon, you're now a trouble-causing robot.
Yeah.
With the game's slogan being "Cause trouble, cause causing trouble is fun."
I hate that so
Cause
much. But I
trouble.
hate it so much that I'm
Causing trouble is
intrigued.
fun. Wow.
I wanted to be there in that board meeting where I was like, all right, guys.
We need
Yeah.
a tagline.
Thing for this might says out there like this is it.
Done.
Adjourned.
Print
No,
it.
I think it was more just probably just like fine because I have nothing better. It's Friday.
go with
It was
that.
Friday and they just wanted to go home, so they're like, sure.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Let's
All
not
right,
fight.
so each player's going to start with 1 of 2 randomly dealt cards. You shuffle the other one back into the deck. You lay out 4 cards face up. You're going to have some seedling tokens face down worth between 1 and 4 points. And on a turn, you take a face-up card, then you play one of the 2 cards in your hands. Think love letter here. Draw 1, play one of those 2. Each card has a different action. You're going to be taking those seedlings from the pad. You're going to be forcing opponents to discard stuff. It sounds fun. It kind of sounds a little love letter-ish. Again, I'm curious, and about 80% of that curiosity is because of the cover.
I agree.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, because it has a push your luck element as well,
Yeah.
right? Because there's a threshold you have to
Which I
meet. And so that's the one kind of mechanism that's hooking
push
me. I
your
was like,
luck.
all right, maybe the push your luck will overcome all the take that and the
Yeah.
still, that kind of stuff. So, and maybe we can use a whoop whoop token in it.
You
There
can
might be
take
an
it.
opportunity.
You can take it from the other game. All right, next up, we've got another reprint. This one's coming from Mighty Boards. This is a La Mame Games. I don't know how you pronounce their name. They released a small print run of a game called Sayer from designer James Dickinson. They released this at Essen 2025, okay? And now they have put out, they're going to put out a tweaked version of that they are calling Red North. That's this cover right here, which I absolutely adore that cover, by the way. And this is now with Mighty Boards, okay? So both of them working together. Mighty Boards is doing the reprint here. So 2 to 4 player game with this pitch. Battle horns echo across the north. The time for conquest has come.
Finally.
Sharpen your axes and send your fiercest heroes and raiders to seize control of the northern outposts. Early victories may bring glory, but beware, for during Ragnarok, the gods themselves may tip the scales. Only those who outsmart their enemies will claim victory. It's a combat-driven game of hidden information and bluffing, which is weird, in which players compete through hidden hands of various factions and warriors to conquer outposts of corresponding factions.
I think those two mechanisms caught me off guard after reading the description.
Right. You're like, big battle game.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
It starts
it's
out
tiny-
as a competitive game. I'm like, yeah, I got that. Then it's like, bluffing. Whoa, hold on.
Yeah.
What? You know what I mean? Like, that kind of took me for a
Yeah.
turn there.
Well, I've seen the original printing. It's a very tiny little box.
Okay.
It's this
Okay.
like skinny little it looks like the size of like a chocolate box kind of thin
wow.
little thing. It's very, very small. This new edition here is going to feature a remix set of outpost abilities. So I'm guessing some tweaking, some changing up, and probably some new content as well. I'm really psyched for this. But again, 80% of the reason is that cover.
That cover.
I really like that look.
Is absolute fire. It is so good.
It's nice to see Mighty Boards picking this up and reprinting it too.
Yeah.
So that'll be cool. Now we got another one coming out from Mighty Boards. This one also very cool looking. Aegea, Pillars of the Gods. This is scheduled for a 2026 release. It's a 2 to 4 player game from a great design team: Trevor Benjamin, Brett J. Gilbert, and David Thompson. Those are good names. Those are neat designers. As a seafaring builder in ancient Greece, in Aegea, you'll navigate the archipelago, constructing towering monuments to the gods and vying for control of sacred islands. We don't really know a whole lot else about this. You're going to be sailing around. You're going to be establishing new towers, strengthening existing ones, collecting god stones, unleashing their divine powers.
And using those for like an area control kind of thing is what I was picking up on, right? Yeah.
8 unique god powers. Each one offers fresh strategies and dynamic gameplay.
And I will 100% be watching Hercules tonight based on this cover.
That's good, yeah.
Yeah, you don't get the Hercules vibe
I
from
do,
it?
I
was
do
like,
get
good
it,
night.
yeah.
It's like, yeah.
The Disney one, right?
Yes,
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you.
I haven't seen
Thank
that
you,
one.
Joey.
I know.
Thought you've seen the cover.
Yes, the Disney one.
No, I love it though.
And if I'm not mistaken, that
More
cover,
like Hercules.
that cover looks to be from what's his name? The artwork is from Weberson Santiago, I think. It has that.
It looks
look.
like it. Yeah.
Really, really like that look too. We're spoiled for good-looking covers. All right,
Just wait.
Patty is speaking of.
I was like, speaking of this, I saw it immediately. I was like, ooh, that looks like a Two Tomatoes game. And it is a Two Tomatoes
It
game.
is,
It
right.
looks like right in their nature line. I'm like right there beside the Islet and the, it's just instantly recognizable. Coral, yes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
recognizable.
they're calling that
I
the
like it.
Natural Wonders
Oh, are they?
series.
Oh, okay, I
Yeah, they
missed
have
that.
a name for it and everything.
Nice.
So this one's a 2 to 4 player game from Alberto Camaño. Camaño, I'm sorry, and that'll be the 4th title in that line, following Coral, Islet or Islet or whatever, and Gold Nugget. In this one, you're going to be transforming the landscape by creating terraces of rice paddies in the mountains of Southeast Asia. And you can kind of see that on the back of the box there. I really like that look, the stacking, the growth.
I do too.
I like that very, very much, yeah. There is...
Little waterfalls too.
You can basically, you're going to be placing these tiles, and they have like a day or a night half. And each new tile, you're going to grow the thing. You're going to prepare the grounds for your little species here to thrive. It just, I don't know. It sounds cute. I like the look. I like the production. I haven't seen, obviously, but it seems to be very nice. And I know their previous games, like Coral, are very well made. Like the bits are super cute and thematic and make you want to play with them. So,
And I was kind of getting a little bit of a Coral vibe from it, where you're, collaboratively building this middle section, but you're trying to compete and make your own goals.
Right.
So I think it's going to be abstract. I mean, at the end of the day, that one's very abstract. I think this one will probably be similar, but very well made.
Exactly.
The bits are fun.
Yeah, super cute. All right, next up, we've got here a little bit
cute.
more information from Bitewing's upcoming Mythos games.
Love it.
So they just came out with 2 of those Mythos games that were both Knizia games. And here we've got 2 more in that series. These are not Knizia games. So this one is going to be Moira here, as follows Iliad and Icor. This one is from Trevor Benjamin, David Thompson, who we just mentioned, actually. They are best known for Undaunted. Those 2 guys together do Undaunted for Osprey Games.
Which is a really well-regarded game, too.
Yep.
Yeah. So this one, you're going to be spreading influence across the land to succeed in your quest to become the High Ruler of Ireland. There's going to be powerful deities involved. You are going to be using them for their command of water, travel, war, creation. Use the road, but the road will not be easy, for in your path to legend stand the sinister Fomorians and other mythical beings hungry for battle. I don't know. It looks really cool. I don't know a whole lot else about this right now, but basically, let's see, what else have I got here? Each round, the 2 players and the enemy faction each take a turn. On their turn, a player selects a deity tile, possibly spending worship tokens to reach it because it's not available to you, and then you perform that action.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this plays out because it has that talk about how you have to have that enemy faction, so there's always going to be that NPC faction involved as well, which I think is interesting when done well and done right. And so it's going to be fun to see what these 2 designers can do with that.
Which sounds like a way bigger game than the 2 that already came out in the series. Those games are very straightforward.
Yeah.
Like a little tile laying, a little manipulation, this and that. Boom, you got yourself a Knizia abstract with a really cool theme and pretty artwork on top.
Right.
Here, this does not come across that way, you know? When the description, on the enemy's faction's turn, an activation card is revealed from the deck that expands one of the 3 clans. Some activation cards are stronger than others. You have to carefully track which clans are most likely to attack and from where. That's a lot of stuff. This does not seem like a small, simple, open information abstract.
I agree. And I haven't played the other 2. I would play this one.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping that enemy faction turn is simple and straightforward because I read that and it's like, ooh, turn this card over and adjust some stuff on the board.
Yeah.
You know, this gets a little stronger, whether it's dials or tracks, we don't know, but you make a little minor adjustments. And then everything else is happening in your head trying to react tactically. If that's the case, then I'm very much on board. If it really is like we're playing a 2-player game or a 3-player game and running basically a solo mode at the same time for this other faction, it depends on how much overhead that's going to be on how interested I am.
All right, then the other one coming from them, Azure, here is from Trevor Benjamin and Brett J. Gilbert. This is the other one in that series, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see what we got here. The Lung Mei, or Dragon Paths, are lines of energy that cover the earth. They are derived from the 4 auspicious beasts: the Azure Dragon of the east, Vermilion Bird of the south, White Tiger of the west, and the Black Tortoise of the north. How many of those did you know by heart, Joey?
Black Tortoise of the North.
You knew that one, yeah?
I did not.
When a path runs in a straight line, that energy builds in power, but these paths can be broken up by barriers such as mountains which diffuse the energy. You know what that sounds like to me? An abstract strategy game.
100%, yeah.
With theme.
Straight lines. Invoke the power of the 4 auspicious beasts. Carefully channel their energy through the earth and triumph in this battle for chi and wisdom that will shape your destiny and intertwine it with the beasts of legend. You're going to be positioning your stones to gather that chi, which is cards, and wisdom, which is points from the realm. This one sounds way more in line with the other 2.
I agree.
That's the thing for me, and I haven't seen these 2. But it feels and sounds like it fits those first 2 Knizia games. Yeah, sure, there's a cool theme, an awesome cover, but you worry about rows and columns and straight lines and whatnot. It's somewhat abstract. Yeah.
Hand management.
The spaces, costs in Chi are going to be reduced by the bonds created by your other stones, so there's going to be some proximity and discounts you're going to be dealing with.
Definitely kind of gave me like Splendor kind of vibes, like you're wanting to play into
you can
certain
get
colors
discounts
to get
by doing various
yeah.
things. Yeah, it seems really neat. And it'll have, of course, extra stuff. There'll be a module in there called the Gifted module, which will be, especially good for players who've played already quite a bit and you've experienced more of the game. Now you can throw in a little extra juice. Sounds cool. I got to say I'm a little more intrigued by the other one because it sounds much more different.
Yeah.
But I'm happy to check out both of these. So there you go. Those again coming from Bitewing. We have a tiny little teaser, not a whole lot of information here from Goliath Games. They've announced that in late 2025, they're going to be releasing the first ever board game that is based on The Sims, with 2025 actually being the 25th anniversary of The Sims.
Okay, that makes sense because I'm
Oh.
like, yeah, way to strike while the iron is very cold.
Okay, yes, yeah.
The Sims is popping, man.
I know.
Do you play The Sims,
I do
Joey?
not. I have.
Have you?
ever?
Okay, you have.
I'm sure you have. Everyone has, right?
I have not played The Sims.
Really?
No, I haven't. I've seen it enough, like
Okay.
clips and whatever, so that I know
So you
what's
know
going
what it
on.
is.
Yeah, people torture like fake characters by not letting them go to the bathroom.
We had different friends, apparently.
Is that not what the game's about?
It's not mainly.
Oh, okay.
No,
I thought
that's-
that's what it was about. That's mostly what I've seen.
Yeah. This
Anyway,
is
so there you
interesting.
go. The Sims is coming to a tabletop near you, and I do hope, for their sake, that it includes dice that look like this. Because I get it, that's a little logo for The Sims.
How would you
little
read
gem,
I totally
little
missed
gem
that,
that
really.
floats over their logo.
Got it.
But their dice, if there are dice, they better look like that.
Could you read
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, I could read that.
You
Yeah,
guess so?
I want to roll that. That looks
you
cool.
would hate that.
You
No,
would hate
but
that.
they have to include it. If you tease me
do.
with that image, you better have some dice in
Yeah.
there that look like that.
I have no
Yeah,
doubt you would
that's
buy
true.
it. I don't think you would ever use it.
I don't think he would buy it if he wasn't going to use it.
I would
no.
use it only in The Sims. I just want it for The Sims.
Okay, that makes
I
sense.
think
Yeah.
you use it.
I'd be like, you can go to pee. No, you can't. You can't pee yet.
But
Yeah,
would
that's
you
fine.
play The Sims knowing it had that die in it and you had to use that die?
Yeah,
Really?
that's the only reason I would play.
That is a good
Okay.
D12.
All right, here we go. We've got a little more info here of Tanga. This is from Board and Dice. They're releasing this from Danielle Tashini. And this is actually the overview says the Warring States period was a pivotal era in Chinese history marked by constant warfare, significant bureaucratic and military reforms, and the consolidation of power among rival states. So this game is set around 260 BCE. That's a long time ago to you.
Yeah.
A time when the 7 warring kingdoms were locked in fierce conflict, both against each other as well as against nomadic groups like the Xiongnu, who posed a threat from the north. This is Great Wall of China has been constructed. Sections of it have been constructed as early as the 8th century BCE. This is a lot. I'm skipping quite a bit. The last 4 rounds in which you install governors in the regions and bolster power, gaining their favor. You're going to be selling goods to merchant ships that are going to be sailing around the Chinese shores. There's so much. I mean, it just sounds like a giant T game, and it is.
Yeah.
At the end of the game, the player who was the best governor, politician, merchant, protector, and player
Wins.
wins.
I didn't dive into the
Yeah.
description because these T games, I just have to play.
I think that's it.
It's like, yeah.
Because it also
There's
is just
so much.
so riddled with theme in here, which I love.
Yeah.
But I also know like it's going to be a mechanically medium to medium heavy game.
Right.
Then it's like, okay, give me the theme after I know how to play. You know, and so I think
Yeah.
this
Interesting, yeah.
description didn't grab me because of that. It was like I still don't understand. This is one of the ones that I was really grateful for the back of the box because I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Now I see it. Hold on. All right, I'm back in.
Yeah.
And so I think the back of the box really kind of brought me into this. And I was like, okay, I like this idea of you're one of these families that is kind of vying for your political power and position, you know, and tracks and goods and hand management and resource management, and, you know, all those
Everything.
yummies.
Throw it in a pot,
you know?
make a
So,
stew. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot. All right. Capstone Games announces Sunavalo. This one is a new farming game. It'll be at Gen Con, so that's a little sooner than a lot of the stuff we've been talking about. It's from Andreas Odin Doll is the designer. Players work to reclaim the land in a futuristic, post-apocalyptic world. Hold up! That does not look like
Did you-
that at
No.
all.
Even knowing that and looking at the cover, I was
know.
like,
So bright.
oh. But I mean, if you want to get me into a farming game, tell
Yeah,
me
right,
it's
that's about
post-apocalyptic.
it, yeah.
I'm like, okay, fine, I'll try.
It's going to have resource management. It's going to have delivery mechanisms that are going to complement some strategic gameplay.
You like that a lot, right?
I do like that. If it's like pick up and deliver,
Yeah.
like make stuff and then do a little pick up and delivery.
I like that.
Yeah, it's basically you're going to be using farm bots and transport drones. That's one good way instead of like watering cans and donkeys. I'll take it.
Now it's post-apocalyptic,
Right,
just like that.
Yep.
Ages 14 and up, plays in 45 minutes to 90 minutes. MSRP,
it's a big gap.
$49.95.
I really want to see this cover in person. Because I like the
I want to see if I can pick that up, the
Yeah.
post-apocalyptic part.
Right.
It kind of looks like Don Quixote, just, I don't know. I'm just getting windmills, man.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
That's all I'm getting from that. All right. Dark Pact is coming out
Trick or treat,
from
Joey.
Trick or Treat. What is it? Trick or Treat
excited.
Studios.
Uh-huh.
And the designer is Tom Lehman.
I
which
like
was
that.
not
Interesting.
expecting to see
Yeah.
anything like this.
Yep.
This combination of talents here. So Dark Pact is going to be a deck building game from Tom Lehman. Like I said, it's plans to release in 2025. So the hook of the game here is that there are 13 Dark Pact action cards, and if you meet the condition on one of these cards in your play area on your turn, then you win the game. That's it. There are some that are called keepers, and you're gonna keep those in your play area, and they're gonna be they'll be discarded at the end of your turn and they trigger based on the cards you have in play in your area during your turn. So you got to put those out and then try to complete that thing. There's also instant ones that are played as an action, and you need to meet the condition based on the cards you have in your hand. So basically, put together a hand of stuff, put together a table of stuff. I
Right.
think is the difference here. For your first game or two, you're going to start with a Dark Pact in your discard pile, and the remainder of them are in the deck. And you'll advance to having them all in the deck. So you're kind of like, I think they're coming out of there and hitting the table there and giving you basically more opportunities to win.
Right.
Because at the beginning of the game, you have one way to win, whatever card you began with in your deck of cards, and more of them come out. That sounds really interesting to me.
It does.
The idea of like, how do you win this game? I don't know. It says on the card you have in your deck. But you will have more ways to win.
In a way, it's like Flux in that way.
Oh,
but I
it's
think
basically
it's so much
Dark
better.
Flux.
No,
Dark
that's not what I'm
Flux.
saying. That's not what I'm saying at all.
Oh,
I think
I'd
it's
buy
like
Dark Flux.
it seems like a really good take on that because that is interesting. A variable win condition that
Yeah.
you're building around. You know, the difference, of course, being here, you are building around it. There's some
Yeah.
skill involved. But yeah, I think it's really, really cool to see it maybe done well and gamified a little bit.
I would love to see. I like Tom Lehman's games. I think he's a good card game designer, especially. This is going to be a deck building game. I would love to see a hit from both Trick or Treat
Yeah.
Studios
I agree.
and Tom
Yeah.
Lehman right now.
Right.
Yeah.
It's been a little bit of a rough patch, in my opinion, for Trick or Treat Studios lately. So I'm rooting for this one.
I mean,
But we know.
obviously-
Go ahead.
Obviously, Camp Grizzly is going to knock it out of the park, but
Yeah.
I'd like to see one before that.
But I mean, we know that they can bring the production. We know they can bring the theme and the look. Hopefully, Tom Lehman here, we know he can bring a design, right?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
so hopefully it's a really good marriage for the two of
And
those.
this theme and
Yeah.
cover is on brand for what you expect
It is.
from Trick or Treat.
Yeah.
So there you go, everybody. That's going to do it for us for the news today. Thank you very much for tuning in and checking this out with us. Again, we'll remind you to go check out some all-play games. And if you don't want to spend money for that, I guess you can come to Dice Tower East and play them first.
What?
That's right.
That will cost
to
you money
Dice
too.
Tower
But,
East.
you know, whatever.
But you
But
can
it's an
play.
experience. It's
both.
a 5-day experience.
Yeah.
Come on.
In
You know you want to
Orlando.
be there. In
Yeah,
Orlando.
fireworks.
And there's fireworks, I guess.
Jinx.
Guys are very excited about
Punch
fireworks.
buggy.
Don't hit me.
Okay.
All right, everybody. That's that. My name is Z Garcia.
I'm Camilla.
I'm Joey.
We'll see you
Evans.
next time. What? That was
Bravo.
weird.
I did the pausing again. I did the pausing
Who
again.
are you?
Hey folks, thanks for watching another one of our videos. If you like our videos, if you like our channel, you would love to game with us at one of our conventions. Check out Dice Tower Cruise, Dice Tower East, and Dice Tower West. Fantastic conventions where we play games with wonderful people, a humongous library, and lots of other events and stuff. Also, don't forget to check out our channel, like and subscribe. I'm Tom Bassel.